Palace stop Arsenal in their tracks. There was no shock at Turf Moor. And hashtag defensively naive. Welcome to the Top Bins Premier League review show. I'm Mike, he's Dave, and this is the Top Bins Premier League review show. We're reviewing all of the Premier League action from Gameweek 10. Some good games, some not quite so good games, and some big talking points. Before we start, we just want to say that we pass all of our best wishes on to the Leicester family, not only the club, but the families of all those involved. And we also want to give a shout out to Glenn Hoddle. We hope you make a speedy recovery soon, mate. Anyway, into the action for the weekend. Let's start at what I think was one of the surprise results of the weekend, Dave, and that was Palace against Arsenal. I know we've said Palace can't buy a goal, but they managed to get 2 pens, and that was...
penalties will help, won't it? And it wasn't from a striker, so in a way we were right. Although Zaha did win the second, and rightfully so. But
definite pen. Both of them were definite pens. First one was... What's he doing? First one.
No idea. No idea.
Stupid tackle.
Crazy tackle.
Just lunges.
And at least, to be fair, after the game, admitted it as much as well. It was that was just dumb.
Was it Mustafi?
Yeah, it was. Sorry, I got that wrong. It was Xhaka who admitted after the game that he fucked up. Mustafi probably thought he'd done the right thing.
Xhaka can't argue. He's just been put on toast by Zaha.
Oh, yeah,
Zaha,
absolutely.
Give him a couple of lollipops, done him one way, he's gone. And he stuck his leg out, absolute 100% penalty.
And sorry, I got that wrong. To be fair, he did put his hand up and say, totally a penalty. And he scored a fabulous goal.
Goal of the weekend for me. That was absolute fizzy banger. He doesn't score ordinary goals, Granit Xhaka. Only ever really scores from about 30 yards out, 25 yards out.
Man, it was so good. We're still yet to see the Granit Xhaka that I thought Arsenal had bought. Yeah, I just don't rate him in the Premier League, but I still think he has amazing quality as a player.
I think the job that he's there to do, he doesn't do that well for Arsenal, but he scored some terrific goals. He's made some good passes for them, and he scored some terrific goals, and that was one of them. Absolutely, the angle is so difficult there, and he's playing against a keeper who's banging form with Wayne Hennessy. He's hit that superbly. Hennessy's got fingertips to that. He's a big lad as well, Hennessy. Got fingertips to that, but that is just screamed into the top corner.
Thoughts about the second goal? I mean, a lot of controversy behind Arsenal's second goal.
I've said it before, Dave. VAR, right? VAR 100% cancels that goal out because it's blatant handball from Lacazette.
Blatant.
He's put his arms up here, and he's going away from the ball. I don't know what he's doing. It's 100% a handball. Should have been blown up. It was strange because Ayew was the one marking him beyond. Just kind of stood there and put his hands up, pointing towards Lacazette. I would have been screaming at the ref for a handball there, and then Aubameyang just bundles it over the line. It was a goal.
It crossed the line.
Goal line technology shows it was definitely a goal. But I agree with you, Dave. It's controversial, and I don't even think it's controversial. It shouldn't have been a goal.
No, and it's going to be a theme this week because if you ask me to sum up the weekend's play, there was some nice games, but I guess the big things for me were guys that should have been sent off that weren't.
Yep.
The diving and the just reckless fouling. I mean, it was an awful, not the weekend you want to say to a mate that's never watched the Premier League.
Nah,
tune in and have a look at this. It's a great sport because it was all of the things that people complain. All my non-football loving mates complain. Oh, they just dive all over the place. It was that. And we'll get to Fulham's game, but my God. Anyway, back to Arsenal. This fair result.
Fair result. And look, Palace, Roy Hodgson, I know he's going to be disappointed because of the goal that Lacazette scored. I know in his post-match... Sorry, not Aubameyang's goal that Lacazette handballed. I know in his post-match interview he sounded disappointed as well, but they will be delighted. They would have absolutely snapped your hand off on the form that they're in to get a draw with Arsenal before this game. In the form that Arsenal are in and the form that Palace are on, 2-2, a great result for Palace. They played some lovely football in that game as well. There was some really nice moves in that game. In particular, where Townsend should have scored in the first half. That move was absolute. If that was Arsenal the other way, we'd be singing their praises for that. So credit to Hodgson. His team are still playing for him and still trying to play football, even though they're in a bit of a rut and not scoring many goals at the moment. So.
Yep, Wan-Bissaka as well gets a shout out from me. I thought he had as good a game as the game. It must have been game 1, game 2, where everyone was singing his praises, and he's kind of gone off the boil since then.
Yep.
This was back to that level. Let's hope he stays there.
Yep. All right, look, I'm going to go to Jose because I know we bag you out every week pretty much, Jose. And it's your own fault, son.
It is.
All right, it's your own fault, mate. But also because we've got the god amongst men playing in this game as well, Gylfi Sigurdsson, who scored a lovely pen.
A lovely pen.
A lovely penny, mate. It's a good pen.
Oh, you probably thought Pogba's pen was a lovely pen.
Talking about pens. So look, United got the win in this game, 2-1. Let's start quickly on Pogba, Dave, and that penalty. Usain Bolt ran the 100 metres quicker than Pogba took to get to the ball.
There's a fabulous tweet now about all the things that you could do in the time that it took Pogba to run up. Look, the run up shit. It doesn't fool the keepers. It worked one time. This time he's missed the target because of what he's doing.
He's missed 2 pens.
That's right. This time he's just lucky enough that he hit the post and it was able to bounce back to him. But he's just got to change it up. I don't know why he thinks this is working for him.
It's a strange thing. It's clearly something that he's thought about doing for the reasons of, I don't know, like maybe because he wants to be like the main man in FIFA or something.
God,
but like, credits where credit's due, though. That is a really good save by Jordan Pickford. Lovely save, because he's gone, he's committed, and then he stuck his hand out. And that's not. I tell you what, that lad I've seen a few times now. We saw it for England as well. He has got wrists of steel. Don't know what he's been doing at home to get wrists like that.
Not like Joe Hart and the chocolate wrists that we had beforehand. This boy's worked up some muscle.
He has got some wrists of steel.
With both hands.
That was a great save. Good save.
It was, and it's a characteristic of his goalkeeping.
Yeah.
Like you say, we saw it at the World Cup where he'll go one way and then stick the other hand out and still make the save.
Brilliant. And I'm very unlucky that Pogba got the rebound and slid it in, because he deserved better than that, Pickford. And Pogba's penalty was pretty awful again. But United, Martial, the man of the moment for them. He won the penalty. Probably was a penalty. It looked like he got a little bit of the ball, but he also did get tangled up, and it was just an awkward tackle. But another great goal from Martial.
And since he's signed for United now, no one scored more goals than him. Yeah. And this is a guy that's kind of been much maligned. I still think they way overpaid for him for the goals that he has got, but he's banging form at the moment.
And he's scoring worldies.
What's
as
that,
well.
4 and 3 or 4 and 5?
Yeah.
5 and 4. He's just looking the goods at the moment, and he's got to start. And I mean, you saw it. Lukaku starting on the bench against his old team, got 15 minutes and looked like shit.
Deserves it. You can't not score goal. He's gone on an 8-game goalless run for United.
Starting to transfer to West Ham about it.
I tell you what, mate. I tell you what, he's stinking of it right now. But you can't pay. How much they pay for him? 60 million, 70 million. You can't pay that much for a striker, and he goes 8 games without scoring a goal. I mean, it's just not. It's inexcusable. I'm glad that Jose dropped him. Very well done. Ballsy shout, because it's hard to drop your number one striker like that. Jose, I know before United, was never really a fan of Lukaku when he was at Chelsea. Didn't really think he'd amount to much. And although he has kicked on since his Chelsea days, still not fulfilling the potential I think he's got.
No, agree. And I think, look, I will give Jose the tip of the World Series champions Boston Red Sox hat, because he made some moves this week and they paid off. They look better in midfield. Yeah. I mean, I still don't think they're there, but they certainly are trending up.
Fred had a good game.
Fred did have a good game, and I was just about to shout him out. Well played, sir.
Yeah. Another Brazilian with a very standard English name.
Well, yeah, Bernard versus Fred. Really thrilling stuff. But look, he did look good this week. The midfield did seem to look good. Whether that was a lot to do with him, Pogba did play a little better, but take the penalty aside. Yep. And I thought United made some good changes, and that'll serve them well in the weeks to come. Last
word on this one. I thought Everton probably should have done a bit more. Quality they got in their team. They offered up a bit. They had a couple of chances. Bernard should be scoring when that one-on-one. He's got to be scoring. Once he's gone around De Gea, he's got to bury him.
He's got to score.
And I'll tell you what, if I was Richarlison, I'd be doing my nutting, because he could have squared it before he rounded the keeper, and he should have squared it after he rounded it, but he didn't square it either time, and it just
it's a certain goal gone begging. Yeah. And look, Everton were good enough to take a point from this game. Yeah, they should be very disappointed.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to a game that I called in the preview last week, as being one of the upsets of the weekend. Burnley, I called them out. I said, Dyche's boys going to get a 0-0, going to stop Chelsea. And
you may remember I was pretty quick to call bullshit on that. And what was the final result then, Mike?
It was 4-0 to Chelsea.
4-0, and it could have been 8-0.
12-0. It could have been 15-0. It was terrible.
Wow.
I tell you what, apart from if it weren't for Joe Hart in this game, I think it would have been 10-0.
And look, the chocolate wrists must have had a candy coating because they weren't too bad.
That Giroud headed it. He tipped onto the bar.
Made a couple of fabulous, and
Brilliant.
a couple of the saves that really make you think, oh, you know what? Joe Hart was a really good keeper. He just looked like shit at West Ham. He's not. But hey, they lost 4-0. But he pulled out a couple of saves that made you shades of what he was 10 years ago. You know, but look. Credit to Chelsea, they played fabulously without Hazard with his back injury. Ross Barkley, I mean, his
sparkling form.
His first touch and pass to set up that goal.
Beautiful. Well, you could see when Morata celebrated, it was all Barkley that got that goal. It was fantastic.
I have been horrendously critical of the purchase of Barkley from Chelsea, but look, Sarri's got him to play great, and he's found his position in Sarri's lineup, and he looks great. But look, this game for me, man of the match is probably Willian, but the talking point for Willian for me is the blatant dive from Morata, and that was like just ugly stuff.
They were wound up, weren't they, the Burnley lads, about that. Tarkowski
looked like he was
getting well into it, and he got booked for it. But so fair play to the ref. He did what the law allows him to do, and booked both of them for the dive.
We talked about this earlier in the season. Tarkowski standing over someone diving, and he's had it again.
But I tell you what, it's got to stop. They've got to be able to retrospectively ban these players, because the Willian one in particular, he's a fantastic player, that lad. I'll tell you what, he's got a lot in his locker. That was horrendous. Just no need for it. The lad's clearly pulled his leg away. There's nothing there.
Good foot,
and he's just gone down, and he could have just beaten him for pace and buried him.
He had beaten him.
And
for me, he'd actually beaten him, and by the time he died.
It boggles the mind, Dave, why they do this. But look, Chelsea were absolutely convincing. Ross Barkley, I think that it's early doors in his Chelsea career. I think that if he continues to do what he's doing right now under Sarri, I'm very, very optimistic about his England future in particular. The kind of player that we need. Similar to a Madison. We need options in that attacking, creative midfield space. Madison, Barkley, that kind of stuff is exciting me. It's getting me excited for the next Euros, and hopefully Barkley can continue that form. I'm not, obviously, I don't like Chelsea that much, being a QPR fan.
I don't think anybody who's a Chelsea fan likes Chelsea.
I don't even think Chelsea fans are Chelsea fans.
Well,
but fair play to Barkley. Had a great game. I thought Rudiger looked excellent for Chelsea. He's on a good bit of form as well.
I called him out last week.
He did call him out, mate. He said he'd win it on his own, but he played very well. So, look, Chelsea look very, very strong. They are one of the 3 title contenders this season, and rightly so.
Final word from me: get rid of the diving. You're winning comfortably. You don't need that.
That's right.
And the last piece was Dyche's post-match interview. Did you hear that? He was saying, "Oh, you know, we deserved a bit of that. We were in this match. You got spanked.
Absolutely
spanked. You
Have a lie down, Dyche. Have a lie down, Dyche. You're watching a different game.
Too many sherries with your lunch, mate. Go have a lie down.
All right, on to your boys, Dave. Liverpool did the business. It was never in doubt. Always going to beat Cardiff, but I thought you looked a bit more like the Liverpool of old in spells still. But Sadio Mane, he was the one when he was a difference maker.
No, he was, and again, I still don't think we've hit our straps, but we're certainly clicking more. I think the Red Star game midweek really helped with a big win. So it's 8 goals in 2 games, conceding 1. Yep. Was surprised to concede 1. But it was really sloppy, and I will say Moreno was quite culpable in the lead up, and that's no surprise.
He's not first team.
But they rested Robbo, and that's what's going to happen. You're going to get a couple of extra chances because Robbo's not there, and then likewise with Lovren, I think. And funnily enough, you watch it back; those two are directly involved in the goal. Yeah. Well taken goal. Good on him.
It was, and he's in decent form as well, Patterson. He's got 2 in 2 now, I think, or 3 in 2, and doing well. But yeah, I mean, Liverpool comfortable in this game. For Sadio Mane, both of his goals were superbly well taken. Second one slipped in, dinked it over the keeper. First one, bullet into the corner.
Not the man of the match though. I mean, Mo Salah's got to get man of the match. took his goal beautifully, and that was classic Mo. That was back to the kind of Mo that I want to see.
That was, good
but
Mo.
The balls that he threaded through for goals, the assist to Shaqiri, whose first touch and then finish was sublime. But the cutting ball to Mane for the dink. I mean, that is the Liverpool of last season goal.
That is the stuff that people don't want to see when you're playing against them.
That's it. And as a Liverpool fan, you watch that, you see us do that, and you think, oh, okay, we're starting to come to the boil now, and this is what I want to see. So
Shaqiri getting his one of 5 goals against some of the worst teams in the Premier League, as he will do probably this season. Will it be Movember, Dave? Will Mo Salah do the business this month?
Well, it'll certainly be Movember here. You'll
growth.
See soon there'll be some links down there. Get in. Men's health is very important.
It is.
I'd love it to be Movember for that reason as well. Look, it's hard not to be a massive fan. The guy's scored 50 goals for Liverpool, 15 games quicker than anybody else before. He's not that far behind where he was last season now.
He just needs to start playing like he did on the weekend.
And he's starting to kick on. I think he maybe is just a bit of a Harry Kane at the start of a season. Takes a while to chip in, but so good.
Talking about Harry Kane, it wasn't the most enthralling game of the weekend, but it was the biggest fixture on the fixture sheet, and that was Spurs against City. City got the win.
5 minutes in.
Spurs have got to be disappointed though, bitterly disappointed, mate. 2 really, really good chances to get a goal in that game, and you've got to take them. Eric the Apple, Harry Kane.
Look, I'll say this about both of them. We just talked about this before we started, and let's say this now. Wembley, that is absolutely shocking. I know you've just had a game of American football there, but you shouldn't be having games of American football there if you can't guarantee the Premier League that they're going to get a good quality pitch to play on.
My back garden looks better now, Dave.
My back strip is always looking better than Wembley.
I don't want to know about your back strip.
But it's absolutely shocking. I mean, you see, even in New Zealand where they don't have the money, if they dual sport like that, there'll often be a second layer that's wrapped over. Grass is easy to relay these days. If it's that big of a disruption, they should have been relayed. Really unfair on City. Who are the visitors? And you could tell because of the damage they hadn't watered the pitch as much, and that played against Spurs because both of their chances, I think, were not helped by the lack of water on the pitch.
We watched Lamella's one back just now, and that definitely suffered from the pitch. That as the ball's coming over to him, it's one of those ones that if it's just rolling across the surface, you almost don't even have to look at it. You know what you're going to do. You're going to put your foot through the back of it, head over the ball. It's probably going to go on target.
Oh, he scores that all
the
day.
whole way. It's just bobbling along like that
on a dry pitch,
and he's hit his ankle, and he's ended up skying it. And that's. I'm not surprised, but at the same time, you've got to expect better from their 2 best players. And Harry Kane in particular, one-on-one, that touch was heavy.
Again, though, a wet pitch that was a good wet pitch, and I don't mean a soaked pitch, but a pre-game watered pitch. That touch holds off a bit more, and he regains that. And I think, look, not good enough, and you should be able to play to the conditions. But I think Spurs now, stadium issues wise, you may have opened your shop at your new ground, but this is piss poor, and especially at the home of English football, unacceptable in my book.
Look, City will be delighted. Pep will be delighted with a win. 3 points against a big team. Another big team is going to keep them on pace with you boys.
Quality.
And I think that's exactly what they needed. Trippier's got to look at himself for that goal. He didn't cover himself in glory at all. Sterling's taken advantage of him and done him on once his mistake's been made, and Mara's there to finish it off. But other than that, not much else to talk about in this game, apart from Moussa Sissoko, one of the worst footballers you'll see in the Premier League, who should have been sent off really for that tackle.
Yeah, he tried to take Sterling's tattoo off his leg with the studs. Just appalling.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the most defensively naive team in the Premier League this season, and of many seasons. Fulham losing 3-0 at home to Bournemouth, Dave.
I think
big trouble, isn't it?
Big trouble. I mean, I think the stat I read was that they have now got the 3rd worst goals conceded at this time of the season in Premier League history.
Wow.
And you've got to remember Derby County in that shocking season. I believe had a better goals conceded at this time of the season, and they were just appalling. I mean, when I think of the gold standard for shit in the Premier League, that Derby County team is right up there.
To be fair, they had Kenny Miller, mate.
They did have Kenny Miller, and I mean they've got big lamps now. He'll never let them go there. But look, back to the game. Fulham are in deep trouble.
Biggest problem I think they had in this game is not only they can see 3 goals at home, terrible thing to do. But the worrying thing is they didn't create in this game. They didn't look free flowing. They had one good chance in the whole game at home against a team that they think they should be doing all right against and competing against. Bournemouth will be delighted with that 3-0. Eddie Howe is doing a superb job at that club. Up to 6th they are.
They are. And look, we've been critical because they have been up and down. I called them the yo-yo club last week, and they have been. But this is 2 great performances back to back. Fraser was electric.
He was.
Wilson was fabulous, and lots of the other players were chipping in as well. I mean, we had some just great performances all across the pitch. No King as well.
No.
I thought they were great, but as good as they were, for me, the talking points in this game are all about Fulham. I mean, defence was shuffled again.
Terrible.
It's played terribly. You've got a man sent off at the back.
Deservedly so as well. 2 stupid tackles.
Another man should have been sent off as well. And then you had one of the worst dives I have ever seen. And this is a game where you talk about retrospective action.
That's where he should be.
He should be getting 3 games for that. That was appalling.
Yeah, it was poor. Look, they're in big trouble for Lamar now, and I really worry for them. They started off the season, and you thought, you know what? They're losing, not picking up points, but they're playing decently. Plucky and playing decent football, but that confidence is starting to drain from that squad now. They're absolutely leaking goals. This is not going to be a fun time for Fulham fans over the next few weeks and months. They're going to need to turn it around sharpish. They're going to have to get in that market in January and buy a couple of decent defenders. Who they're going to get, I have no idea. They've not got a massive, but they've already spent a lot of money.
Yeah, but they need 2 centre-backs, a new keeper, and potentially two full-backs as well. I mean, honestly, in that back 5, I wouldn't keep any of them.
Neither would I, mate. No. All right, let's move on. Leicester, West Ham. Obviously, barring the tragic events that happened after the game itself was a bit of an anticlimax. I thought that there was a lot of promise in this game to be really exciting. Both teams kind of going for it. Both teams not quite in the form that they want to be in at the moment and have a chance to put it right. I thought Leicester overall were the better team in this game. They should have scored. Vardy should have scored in this game. They managed to get a last-minute deflection on that Ndidi shot and pulled it back to 1-1.
So fluky. I mean, really. I mean, nothing less than they deserve, but very fluky considering all the good chances they spurned.
Mark Noble sending off.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and everything you've said about Mark Noble the whole season. Absolutely shocking. And West Ham in long spells were just awful, and it shows how much they need Marko Arnautovic, because without him, they just look...
I'm surprised they scored, to be honest, but it was from a set piece, and Albrainer got that goal, but they really...
goal, too.
They looked toothless up front without Arnautovic, and they've got to really worry when they rely so heavily on one player that it's going to be a tough season. I'm not fooled by those two wins that they got. They stink of it for me still. They are going to be in that relegation battle, deep in that relegation battle. I think Fulham are going to be in there as well. It's going to be a tough old season for West Ham and Fulham fans. But
Declan Rice was the only shining light for them again.
I thought he had another great game.
And that's it. You talk about players that Fulham should try and pick up. Declan Rice can play centre back. He's not a huge lad.
He's on piss poor wages.
No wages, and he's at on a sinking ship. He would actually consider probably jumping ship.
All right. Let's go over to Vicarage Road and Watford against Huddersfield. We called it. We thought Watford would get the win. Huddersfield just not got any goals in them, have they?
But they got so close this game, and that was what really upset me. They hit the bar with a ripper. They inches off a placing in the top corner. I mean,
but they're shooting. Their chances are from like 30-yard
shots.
Are. They're not one-on-ones or. Like they're not creating much.
No, and it is sort of just coming off the back of something rather than through good attacking play. The problem for them this week was that the defence, which has been okay, and certainly against Liverpool was more than okay. I thought the defence was Not outstanding, but certainly very good.
Our mate went and scored, didn't he?
He did as well.
Doesn't score ordinary goals,
but
that fella.
he doesn't at all. And what a goal! And for me, I know your goal of the weekend is Granit Xhaka. Mine is Pereira. I hate saying his name so much, but my God, what a goal! How many?
Goal.
He's just slalom skiing through.
Reminding me of a peak Georgie King Clancy when the way he just danced through him like a hot knife through butter. He was. He just glided through. It was lovely, and in the finish, beautiful.
Simple finish.
He's a lovely football player. I tell you what.
Look, it was a great goal. Watford played fantastically. Huddersfield's defence just went to pieces.
Yeah.
And Wagner was pretty critical of them after the game, and he's been pretty, measured in his responses.
But I think he was right.
He was pretty savage this week.
I think it was the right time to do it as well. I think that was one of their poorest displays of the season.
That's right.
And they're going to need to they're going to need to find some goals. They're going to need to find a way to turn this around because the Premier League's an unforgiving league, and if you have defensive leaks or attacking vulnerabilities going forward, you're going to suffer big time. And teams like Fulham and West Ham and Huddersfield as well, they are struggling because of those inabilities, both defensively and going forward. So, all right, let's go to the Amex. Brighton against Wolves. We did not think, if we knew that the OAP home was letting out Glenn Murray for the weekend, this may have been a different prediction. But your boy Dave, you took him out of the bloody fantasy team.
I took him out of the fantasy team because I was so concerned about his safety. And look, Glenn, if you're watching, you mean a lot to me, pal. Your safety means a lot to me. But what a recovery. What a man. What an absolute friggin' legend. 100th goal for Brighton. Only the...
I thought you were going to say his 100th year on the planet. He's
115, right? You're missing a few there. Only, I think, the third player in Brighton history to score 100 goals.
Yep.
And it's in 2 spells, but I mean, he's a Brighton legend.
He's a goal scorer, mate.
Did the business.
He's a goal scorer. He's the white, slightly rubbisher version of Jermaine Defoe.
I like it. Yeah, it's nice. Yeah. I'll say this. Chris Hughton's no mug.
No.
He's got these guys playing some pretty decent football.
Yep.
And look, 1-0 may not be the most exciting result in the world.
No.
But if you watch the game, they played pretty well throughout. They didn't give up a lot. When they got the chance, it fell to Murray. Murray doesn't miss them. Buried it like he's done so many of his family members in his 115 years of life.
Brutal. Wolves' graph is starting to plateau and drop right off, isn't it?
My concern now is Nuno didn't seem to know what to do.
No, he didn't. He didn't have a plan B, did he?
No, and I think maybe he's been found out in that regard. And look, a good manager, like I just said, Chris Hughton,
organised.
He knows what to do. He would have watched. He would have done a lot of work in the week to see what Wolves were going to throw at him, and I thought he countered it brilliantly. Yeah,
well done, Chris Hughton. Great 3 points for you. To the final game of the weekend, absolute cracker at St Mary's. Not really much else to say about that one. It was crap. We said it would be crap. We said there'd be no quality.
I said it'd be a crappy game, a draw. It'd be really uninteresting, and there'd be fights in the city. The only thing I'm not sure about is the fights in the city.
I confirmed it. It's
pretty
confirmed.
Much,
there were fights.
Certainly.
Mark Hughes is a terrible man. He's a terrible man. He's a terrible manager. He's got to go. His team can't score. They can't win. He's got to go. He's just got to go, Dave. I don't want to see him on my TV anymore.
I don't even want to talk about him. I just want to talk about Newcastle. I thought Newcastle should have done a lot better. I watched 80 minutes of this game. I'll be honest with your team.
Jesus,
I couldn't do the full 90 because I thought I was just going to die. I could feel my innards just giving up.
That's a Premier League stalwart there. Davy's just going through the full range of emotions while watching the 0-0 between Newcastle.
It was just appalling. It was such a bad game.
Terrible game.
Newcastle, I'm sorry, I've been nice to you, but you can't go to St Mary's and not pick up the points there against this crap Southampton team. You've just put yourself, you're on the same level, and you're in trouble, just like West Ham, just like Huddersfield, just like Cardiff, and just like Fulham. It's going to be interesting at the bottom this year because there's a lot of teams that want to go down this year.
Both of those teams are well in this relegation battle, I tell you, because the way they play, they look void of ideas, void of quality, void of anything inspirational. Big trouble, both of them. Going to need to turn it around. I really hope that Southampton, once they get rid of Mark Hughes, turn it around. I'm a big fan of their club. I think they do. They run things right. But play like that, and you're
We need our players.
struggle.
Where are Liverpool going to get their players, Southampton? What are you doing with all the money, Southampton?
All right, look. Another good week of Premier League football, some sad events, and again, our thoughts with everyone at Leicester City. Don't forget to give this video a like and hit subscribe. Don't forget to check out our Facebook. It's facebook.com/Top Bins Fantasy. We've loved it. You've loved it. This has been Top Bins Premier League Review Show.
I say walk like they talk like they know. Walking, talking like they know. What do they know? Talking like they know. Maybe they know, no.